Hello, thanks for coming back.
I think we've only lost... I think she's gone.
Gal's done one.
You having a good time? Oh, brilliant.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
Is anyone staying afterwards for a few drinks? That's Chris asking, not Craig.
Craig will be about 5:30.
Thank you so much, by the way, for coming, and thanks for listening to the podcast, because we love it, don't we?
We didn't set out to... I know we banged on about this enough, but we set this up just being Pip's dickhead mates, and it's...
Which we still are.
Yeah. They're aware of that, don't worry about that. Yeah. But yeah, it's so nice that it's grown, and you all chat with us on social media, and it's fucking brilliant. And you've all come from all over the place to come to London to watch me and him talk, which is amazing. Like, our egos are fucking out of control right now.
I said fans the other day, and I hated myself.
He said fans, right? And like,
I was like, oh God.
How many times have I got Chris listeners? Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
How many beers you had?
I've had 1.5. Yeah. Hey, come on.
So the second half, coming in fashionably late, but not as fashionably late as the last podcast. That's Charles down there, and Charles runs Love Beer. And Charles has come and kitted out the whiff in my little shed with beer pumps and stuff like that, and it's because of Charles that the drunk casts are a drunken shambles.
I think it's because we're alcoholics that the drunk casts are drunken
shambles. But yeah, so Charles has provided us with some beers, so when we get round to doing the listeners' questions, then anyone that has got a question, then we'll give you a very nice beer.
Yeah.
So there's a good reason to start thinking of questions. Yeah?
Just seeing Charles has reminded me. Charles, I was uploading the fucking mess that is our most recent podcast, and the start of episode 3 is just another guest beatboxing and rapping, and we're all out of our faces, and I'm going to have to edit so much of that.
We've never, ever edited a podcast.
This one, I think we might have to.
And we all woke up with anxiety after that one. And you went, we're going to have to edit that. And normally I'm like, shut up, Chris, we just fucking put it out. And I was like, we've so got to edit that. Yeah. It was absolute shambolic. Fair play to you, Charles. You was trying to talk about the breweries, and you was going, right, this beer's called Bishop's Digit. And like... and our guest was going, I'm going to call that one Loose Slag. So when the podcast eventually comes out, which is the Love Beer one with our good friend Big Papa J, it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. It will rival the Ramesh drunk cast, I think.
Definitely. 100%. There's no shadow of doubt in my mind. Because the first beer that you brought up, Charles, was this coffee stout. That was how many percent was that? 11.5. Right. And before an hour's passed, we're all fucked.
I should point out that our next guest, I said, he said, I might go and get a beer. I said, that's right, have one of these. And he went, OK. Cracked the bottle, then looked at the bottle, put the lid back on, and went, fucking hell, 7.5%. OK, well, look, as I've mentioned before, we're going to do some listener questions at the end, so there's beer now as more of an encouragement to come up with some ideas. And if you've got some fucking crazy stories, then by then... I've had a lot more to drink than Chris, so I'm well up for fucking some stupidity. Okay. So yeah, let's see how we go. Right, should we? Have you got anything to say before we bring the next guests on?
I love you, man. I would have thought I'd have said that. Right, okay, let's see.
I should say, me and Chris have been friends for a long time, but I have seen way too much of you over the last 5 months. I've spent more time in hotel rooms with you than probably I've spent in hotel rooms with my missus. And what's weird is some dark shit has happened in them hotel rooms, hasn't there?
Yeah.
It's like, at one point, we was like, right, let's make a video. And you was like, right, hang on. hang on, I'll get some porn up on my phone, and then I'll go in the toilet, and then you pretend to knock on the door, and I'll be like, what do you want? And I think you actually went, right, oh, hang on. No, hang on, I want some amateur stuff. I don't want that. And it was like... You was
not
actually
that one.
Genre specific. Not that it made any bearing on the fucking video.
You were standing outside the toilet for 10 minutes. Chris, you masturbating in there now. I just got sidetracked, man. Pornhub.
Character acting.
Pornhub has got... I'm trying to catch up on all the episodes, but it's just... Woo! It's a lot. There's a lot to get through.
That's a box set, mate. All right. OK, so... we'd like to welcome on stage now, and please show your appreciation for our friends and our guests, which is the lovely Rialina and Bobby Bloomfield. How you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Ria, thanks for coming back.
Pleasure. It's good to be comfortable on the sofa for once.
Oh, yeah, because you was in that svelte velvet...
I was in a prom dress that I just about fit into.
You did good.
Just.
If you
go.
aren't aware of what we're talking about, if you weren't at the last live show or you've not listened to that episode, we was doing embarrassing moments, and Ria spoke about a high school prom in the States where no one wanted to take you, did they?
It was in the Netherlands. Not that made a difference. They still didn't want to take me.
But you had this dress that your mum had made for you?
No, it was my mother's dress. So she'd had it from the 60s, and she just went, I said, I still want to go to prom. And so she went, well, here's a dress. And so I went in her dress. Normally you buy a dress. Normally you get a dress, and it's a big thing, and they take a picture of you and the person taking you, and he brings you flowers. And I didn't get any of that. So she just said, well, here's the dress, and your dad's bought you some flowers, but he can't actually pick them up, so you'll have to go get them. So I got on my bike and biked to the florist. It was like, hi, there's some flowers for me.
And Ria turned up at our live podcast in that prom dress.
Yeah.
It was a bit special. So, welcome, Bobby.
Hello.
And so we know Bobby. Bobby was in the band Does It Offend You, Yeah? And done lots of gigs with Pip and Dan.
Yep.
And so we met through Pip, and you have since DJ'd lots for us, and we've become friends and such. And before we sort of get on to bits and pieces, you now run a new venture called The Rattle.
Yeah, so basically, you guys were talking a lot about the 90s earlier. And if you remember, not only was there Britpop, there was rave, there was acid house, there was gangster rap, there was all these amazing countercultural things going on.
2 secs, Bob. Really don't want to interrupt you there. Can everyone hear everything all right?
Hello.
Yeah, everyone's pretty loud. Everyone's
Check
loud enough,
one.
yeah? Does it need to come up at all? Everyone's cool.
Shall I
Brilliant.
speak better?
No. Someone said in the break that it was more precise, Robert, please.
Okay.
Go on, sorry, Bob.
Yeah, so there was all this countercultural stuff fighting against the evil in the world. And currently we've got maybe Ed Sheeran and Adele fighting against the evil in the world. So
is that why we have Trump? Because they're not enough?
I think so. I think we've got Trump and Brexit because there's no youth culture voice. So basically I want to give the youth a voice by helping them, have money in their pockets.
Dude, we've spoke about this so much, and that's a theme that has come up and up again and again with the different bands that we've had on, and the fact that how a lot of the, say, Britpop movement happened was in the scene and the environments that were available for these musicians. And because someone else had told us about what you was doing a while back. It might have been Russell Lissack, actually, from Block Party.
Yep, so he's one of our mentors.
Yeah.
We've got amazing mentors. We've got like Imogen Heap, Russell Lissack, Foreign Beggars.
How young is not young enough to be able to come and do a youth thing with you?
So we're not age discriminatory.
That one.
Correct. That one. And we're also not genre specific as well. So whatever music you make, whatever music technology you make, you can come in and just experiment on making new ways of You look at the festivals now, it's Red Hot Chili Peppers and Muse and Kasabian still. And it's like, hang on a minute.
I guarantee at 3 p.m, Feeder are still on stage.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Leave Feeder alone. Got a little
But
soft spot.
the lower half of the festival bills are the bands that are really exciting and young, but they all get dropped after one album. So nobody's going to replace Muse. And Muse will be on Reading Festival until the end of fucking time.
It's something that, as Chris said, we spoke about it so much that there is no longevity, there is no sort of long-term vision in record labels now that if you put an album out and it doesn't shift Adele-sized quantities, you ain't going to get a second album. And so when you look historically back at the kind of rock giants, and even up to Britpop probably being the last point in music where there was still an element of support that you would get a second album, nowadays it just doesn't exist. It really doesn't. And that has killed, I won't say youth culture, but yeah.
I think it has. The
within
Independent
music,
and
definitely.
The Guardian both ran stories about the last important youth culture movement being New Rave, which is what I was part of. And that's tragic. It's like New Rave and grime were like 10 years ago. And that means there are people turning 20 now who had no significant things happening in their teens. Like, whoa, that's bonkers.
And that's the thing, that when we were speaking to Jen earlier, and Gal, about, and myself as well, the impact that the scenes, for me, growing up in 89 was Manchester, in 92 was grunge, and in 95 was Britpop. They were three massive movements in music and fashion and culture, and it impacted throughout.
Yeah.
And I constantly say, is it because I'm just getting old?
It's not. If you look at the way people dressed and what they were listening to in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s and 90s, the last 20 years, people really haven't changed much. At one point, people had beards and then they didn't.
Sorry, Pip. But I also think that it's become, when you look at, I mean, I know V Festival's just been told that it is no more, but when you look at festivals and you're talking about like headliners are still Chili Peppers and Muse, and it to me feels that like fashion as well. As a DJ, I used to watch people come through the doors of my clubs, and I could go metaler, I don't like the term, grunger, indie kid, and
Frenchman.
But now it's sort
Brian Harvey. But to me now, like, when we wanted clothes, we'd have to go to Camden Market and get the clothes that was, you know, symbolic to what our scene was. But now there's a universal kind of top shop fashion that transcends all genres. So there is no specific movement. Everybody kind of looks the same.
That's true, but there are little pockets out there. But the mechanism from them to get from where they are to exploding onto the mainstream is broken. And that's exactly what we want to do with the Rattle, is like figure out how to get new, exciting artists wearing clothes that we wouldn't understand as old people, music we wouldn't understand as old people, and just getting them out there. We should be frightened of new music.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we're over, well, I'm over 40 now. You're over 70.
Yes! Bobby can stay permanent hardcore listing member.
I've not fucking seen him for 2 years and he's on board straight away.
Can I just say, Charles, this is blowing my fucking face off, man.
Oh, is that the 7%?
Thanks, man.
The minute you put that lid back on, when he got on stage, you went, here, Chris, I've got a beer for you.
You said you'd opened it for me, especially. What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Goodbye.
So...
I won't bang on about it anymore.
So with Rattle...
Yeah.
So how are you going to implement that? Is it a space?
So it's just, we're building a space. So we're building like a central, what we're calling a startup space. We're trying to bring in startup culture into music without it being wanky. And we're building studios, and basically someone will come along and they'll pay 250 quid a month, and they'll get studio time for that whole month. And all the mentorship from people like Russell, Imogen Heap, blah, blah, blah. People from the BBC, people from the world of finance, entertainment, tech. And what we want to do is just figure out new ways of success outside of the old copyright music industry, which died about 10 years ago.
And to explain to anyone that has never sort of looked into being in bands and being in studios, if £250 a month, you will pay £250 a day.
Yep.
For most studios, right?
Yeah. So we just want to the really hip word in startup is disrupt. So we want to completely disrupt the music industry, and people are starting to take notice. People are getting a little bit frightened.
So when you was in Does It Offend You? Yeah.
Yep.
Where did you, like, in regards to your relationship with your label, you were signed to a major, right?
Yep.
So how did you see longevity in it? Like, what was your...
Well, we were one of the last bands to get a traditional record deal.
A 360 or...?
No, before that.
Right, okay.
But, at our height, when we were travelling around the world, we had music on the Oscars, we had music on Fast and Furious. The most I ever made was about 15 grand. Interns at record labels start at 18 grand. So it's all the wrong way around. Artists are what it's about. So we're trying to make artists the heart of the music industry again, make artists founders of startups, and then labels can just, provide services.
So what are your thoughts on things like Spotify?
Well, Spotify was built, or is built now, to serve the owners of the back catalogues. So new bands don't make any money out of it, but the people who own all the catalogues from the beginning of time make loads of money. So the music industry is actually on the up, but emerging music is plummeting. Yeah.
Rubbish.
I'll stop being negative now.
Just to
Shall I have a piss?
Just to clarify it, you're going to save it, yeah? No pressure, but like...
So 2 years ago, we figured out, we went, how do we save or solve the music industry? The answer was, fuck knows. So we thought, what we'll do is we'll make a space in London and throw loads of talent in it, and then we'll make a space in Manchester, we'll make a space in New York. We're going to hopefully have 5 rattles within 3 years, and we'll build a network, and hopefully the new grassroots artist-led music industry will come out of that. And then we'll get the next Rage Against the Machine, and we'll get the next Bjork, we'll get the next Radiohead.
I think you need to put all these artists together. I think like to create that sort of pressure chamber, like Britpop was, when we've had different people on from Elastica and a variety of the other bands. They all knew each other, and I kind of think that needs to happen again. And if Rattle can do that,
that's how punk happened. Punk had its own fanzines. It had, they all helped each other. They put out their own records. And we're trying to do that again, but genre non-specific.
That's amazing, Bob.
Yeah.
Really is good.
Have you got like club nights planned? Because we're promoting.
Look at you fucking trying to get an angle on it. We nick a couple of quid out them kids. Fucking Fagan over there.
That's a good one. But I genuinely think that it's not only that, but where are these people being seen and where are people socialising? Because I think that's changed. Like when we used to even have house parties, there was always a certain person's house we used to go and have these crazy fucking parties at. And like 10 years later, when my friends' brothers and sisters were at the age we used to be at, they'd all be sat in the house doing nothing. Like their house parties were so bored and devoid of music, and we were like, Jesus Christ! Like this is how much the scene and, as you say, youth culture has changed. And I think that, nightclubs have taken a fucking massive hit.
You've got Tinder. Why would you need a nightclub?
I think it's all linked. Sorry, Bobby?
You've got Tinder, so why would you need a nightclub?
Why do you need to go out?
Yeah.
But there is a degree of that that's affected.
There's a massive degree of that. There's a massive degree of that. Like, growing up in the dark ages...
You never had any trouble pulling though, mate, did you? You never had any...
mobile phones didn't exist when I was a kid. But, you historically, you went to a club because you wanted to hear new music and you wanted to meet girls and you wanted to drink beer. But nowadays... You can literally buy a case of beer for like £8. you can meet girls on Tinder, and you haven't got to go to a club to hear new music. You just go on Spotify.
Well, there is no real push for that, no quest for new music either, because of what Bobby's saying as well, because they're just regurgitating what is profitable. Yeah, so businesses make money, and the way businesses often make money is not taking a risk. And so then why take a risk on new music? So then you homogenise the music to make it sound like what was selling well, and then all you get is, as one of our buddies, Aaron, is here, one of his mates, Dave, says if there's only shit on the menu, you're only going to buy shit. And I think that the thing is with a lot of that mainstream music is it's not terrible. I don't think it shouldn't exist, each their own, but it's just too much of it. Yeah. And that's because that's where the money's at.
Can I just clarify at this point, why is Aaron going to a shop that only sells shit?
Aaron, jump up, mate. You can answer that one. Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about the shit that's on offer when I'm sitting up here trying to do a podcast. Right, so is there any kind of like parallels between musicians? Obviously, I'm going to try and pull this back to being about London, and obviously I know that the Rattle's going to start in London, but for me, when I was trying to establish myself either doing the clubs or doing bands, it was like, go to London, got to go to London. Now, does it offend you? Yeah, go straight to London. And as well as that, Rhea, as a stand-up, is London focal?
For comedy, at the moment it is, because most of the television is here. So this is where you're getting all the TV comics running around and playing the live circuit when they're not doing TV appearances. There is comedy scenes in Scotland and the Northwest, but most of the television is here for the UK circuit, and then of course we're starting to send people over to the US, and then you're seeing people that pop up on Conan or pop up in LA.
And growing up in Reading, you felt the need you had to be in London.
He had to get out. It was Reading.
Well,
yeah,
but at least it's not Wokingham. So you asked me what the best thing about London is, and it's that it's not Wokingham, where I grew up. It's like Reading had like one venue, 2 recording studios, and that was the mecca that we all went to from Wokingham, which had fuck all.
But it sounds posh, Wokingham.
Yeah, it's where John Redwood comes from, so it's awful.
The tree. Nice.
So you felt the desire that to try and establish yourself as a stand-up, London was where it was going to be?
Well, no, I moved to London to do my PhD and then started doing the circuit. So I was already here. But now that I started doing that, and every time I leave London, I go somewhere, I travel for work, I go, wow, this place is amazing. Why do I live in London? And then you come back on the train, you're taking the train in from Gatwick or whatever, and as you get closer and closer, you go, God, this is a shithole. But no, it is the place to be for what I do. I couldn't really move anywhere else and start again grassroots and know what I want to, because it's got the richest. I think comedians all over the world agree that UK is one of the richest comedy scenes to start from grassroots and work your way all the way up.
Strange that everybody relocates to Edinburgh for 2 months, though, isn't it? And just tries to kind of...
What are you doing for the first month? We go there for a month and then we leave. Like, what is the extra month for?
There's a castle. There's a distillery.
Are you getting lost in the levels? Where's Harry Potter?
No, why is there not? Because in London, we historically had the Camden Crawl for bands and things like that, where all bands would descend upon there and showcase. And there's not that. Does that exist for comedy, or is there just that many comedy stores that there doesn't need to be an Edinburgh in?
There's only one comedy store. Can I just say that, like, recorded? Otherwise, they would never let me work there. No, there's only like the Comedy Store is the long established sort of mecca of comedy. There are more and more clubs popping up, and they're purpose-built, as we call them, purpose-built comedy clubs that are understanding that there is a science to comedy, so the room has to be right, and the equipment and the layout and all that has to work, and we're seeing that more and more. And actually, comedy really changed because the crash really hit comedy, because comedy, of course, is a little bit like live music. You know, when you don't have any money, why go out and pay for a ticket when you can just sit at home and watch it on YouTube or something like that? And we had the same problem in comedies, that people just went, why should I go out and see someone I don't know when I can sit at home and watch someone famous on telly? And so that changed and evolved the way that comedy's adapting to the same issue of just how do you get new people out there. But with, you know, with the internet and with the fact that now companies at the top are going, okay, you want to make a special? How many Twitter followers do you have? 94,000. Sorry, we only work with people with 100,000. You know, that's changing the way that you have to work as an artist. So no longer can you just be funny. You also have to know how to edit a video, and you have to know how to engage people on different social mediums. So it's just changing.
So has that made it harder, social media? Because like people always like, oh, it's great you can get your name out there, but with everyone else competing, does that make it is it like another level of stress? You're not worrying about just the art of comedy. You've got to worry about, as you say, editing videos and taking a picture of you in a coffee shop doing something comical. It's adapt or die, isn't it, really, nowadays? It's adapt or die. If you're going to sit... There are comics that sit there going, I shouldn't have to do that. Why should I have a website? People would call me for gigs. Well, if they're not calling you, you're going to have to either call them or die. Like, that's what it is. You need to adapt.
It's the same in music. I think the days of bands like Oasis who, you know, get the manager and label to do all the stuff while they do coke and drive into swimming pools. That's gone. We need, like, engaged artists. Because
we wanted to start a band, but if that's done...
it's done.
Honestly,
I'm well up for
the
that.
thought of reversing your Mondeo into an hot tub would have been fucking golden, man.
But only if you stick it on Instagram. Obviously, if you miss the moment, then what was the point?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't happen.
So, I know that you've got 5. And so you're going to...
I have 5?
5 things that you love about London.
Right, I'm glad we clarified. Do I have 5 decks?
We're going to do some... we're going to do some stuff that you guys like about London. Should also point out, midway through your poignant chat about 2 minutes ago, someone dropped a glass over there, and the restraint I showed from being Essex and going, "Ooh-wanga!" was ridiculous. A little bit of me died inside there. Okay, so do you want to start with some... I don't know if we're going to have time for all 5, so
all right.
Let's get 3 choice ones.
Ooh, just 3. Okay. My 3 would be, in no particular order, I love how multicultural London is.
Okay.
I travel a lot for work, and there are very few places where you can sit on a tube on any time of day or on a bus and see people from, like, tons of different places. I especially will walk into places and go, ooh, I am the tannest person in this room. And London, never the case. There, you know, every shade. Number 2, I love that you can jaywalk in London. I have places to go and shit to do, and I don't have time to stand there and, you know, have a face-off with a red man when no one else is on the street. And even then, in London, the average speed of traffic is so slow, like, the car can try and hit me, but I'm going to get across before you make it. And third, it's a toss-up between... well, I'm going to say 3 and 4 together. I love that we have rules on the escalator, and that goes hand in hand with how rude we are. I just both of those. There's nothing more maddening than going to Manchester and having to stand behind someone on the left as you're going from floor 1 to floor 2.
That's a fucking great shirt.
You know what? Move the fuck over. Like it. Just and the fact that we have announcements now that tell foreigners, stand on the fucking right. Right? And the rudeness, just the fact that, you know, I'll just go up and stand behind someone on the left and I'm right. I love that. I love standing behind them and they go, oh, sorry.
I take it you're very London in your approach, that you just tut and don't actually do anything about it.
I will tut on the escalator, but I will damn well shout, move down in the carriage when I'm getting on the tube.
Classic move down.
Come on, you got, you know. Because they're the ones standing there going, if I just stand here, no one will notice. I fucking noticed, move down.
Well, you need that, though. You need a champion for the move down. When no one's saying move down, I will step up, but I will look around first. Who's going to say it first? And if not, I'll step up.
Because you know what? This is the thing about the move down. People don't want to do it. The Brits go, I don't want to do that. Everyone will look at me. Everyone on that carriage will be like, thank God it was someone.
Round of applause.
Thank goodness it was you. Inside, they were applauding.
Oh, for sure. Is it like Japan? They literally have wardens who push people into the trains.
Sorry, people employed to do that?
Yeah.
They've got tools. They got like big rulers to sort of leave
push people in because of how busy it is. So that's their job.
Oh, well,
They have gloves.
I applied, but I refused to wear gloves. I just wanted to really, push lower. But, yeah.
Well, you've vented them really fucking quick. What other two you got?
Oh, well, that was the 4. The rudeness and the escalators were 2. My last one was actually just you can eat healthily in London. Like, London is really health conscious. You don't realize it till you travel, but you can go and get pots of fruit, at any Pret, and it's a really good place to actually live healthily, which you have to, because London's a crazy place to live, and you're always on the move, and and your throat is dry from yelling at people on the tube and tutting. That was the other one. That was not so much funny, but just anywhere else you go, everything's open late, yes, but it's all shitty fat
Double
food.
fried, yeah. Moving back to Essex is so true. And you'll have a go at me for being a hipster, but then you move back to Basden, and if I'm hanging out in the town centre just to feel better about my life, there's nowhere to eat that isn't going to give me cancer in a year. It's all shit. It really is. It's very true. And they have you seen the veggie Prets now, Ria?
They do have veggie Prets.
Yeah.
They do.
I think that's a really cool thing, but Pip pointed it out the other day. So obviously, because Pip opened his mouth, I had to take the opposite stance and just took the piss out of him consistently.
I'll be honest, I don't know why they can't just put the veggie stuff in the normal Pret.
I mean, there is
Why is it-
vegetarian stuff in Pret, right? They don't, like, apples don't
Like, it's
come
not
with
helping
bacon.
the vegan and the...
I assume.
Brilliant. I love your vegetarian alternative is an apple.
Craig's Pret coming to Basildon. Come to Eastgate soon.
She's just going to have cider, and you'll be like, it's made from apples.
We'll have apples on a 12. Before we go, have you got some things about London, Bob?
Well, first on the list was the multicultural thing. 'Cause, we voted the right way in Brexit, but that's the rest. That's the end of my political rant. The other thing is there's absolutely no fucking excuse to be bored in London.
So
there's
true.
something
Yeah.
for everyone, no matter what your kink is or what music you like or what interests you.
Mate, I guess that is the thing I miss most about London, other than my mates, is the fact that you just can do stuff in London every night. If you want to do something fun, you can. And there's so many places out there, people who are entrepreneurs doing different experiences, whether or not that is food, like Jen was saying earlier, or no, it's just food. That's all.
Well, that's apples. That's what I was. That was going to be mine. And it sounds a bit wanky, but it is just that.
You said that maybe 5 times this episode, so I'm looking forward to hearing that back.
It is that opportunity for creativity, which you don't really get where we're from. You have to make it, but there's not a hub for it, so to speak. There's not encouragement for it. Whereas I think just walking in here this evening, like just out there was 2 independent magazines on the side. And I just think there's 2 independent magazines out there set up by someone that has probably gambled a bit to get that published. And within that, they're going to be talking about aspiring artists, musicians, writers. And, there's only small pockets of that in your bigger cities like Manchester and Edinburgh and such, where they do focus on that. And unfortunately, where we're from, there isn't a big focal point for that. And like you say, there's only X amount of places that you can go where you're going to be around like-minded people that do want to do something within the arts and try and establish themselves and be encouraged. Possibly the most sensible thing I've ever said.
Well done, Stu. Well done, mate. In terms of best things about London, you're all wrong, by the way.
Oh, you're going to talk about the fucking alien experience, aren't you? You are, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Fuck.
Do you know
sake.
that's the same people who did the zombie mall?
Yeah, because
Do you know what? This is so fucking weird, right? So we just done the Z zombie events thing, yeah? And so we couldn't really talk to Bob too much when he got here. And even though I haven't seen him for 2 years, I was like, all right, Bob, what have you been up to? Yeah, don't say anything. We're doing a podcast. Can't talk about anything until we're on here. Bob was one of the first fucking zombies at Z events.
Was it Bobo?
I was the clown zombie, yeah.
Clown zombie. There weren't a clown zombie when we was there. But they run really
There was a
fast. Did
clown.
them big shoes not just fuck with you?
Yeah, I've actually had to have a knee operation, and I think I need a back operation since Z events. Yeah.
No way.
There's a lot of falling over and falling downstairs. People screaming at you, and you're screaming back at them.
It's amazing. But you, yeah.
Do you have
it's
special
full on.
insurance for that? Like, don't they have to cover you for doing that kind of job?
Probably.
Probably.
And I'll tell you what,
We
if you
didn't get that.
haven't listened to it, then I mean, what I will say, do listen to it if you like Chris being horrible to me, because Pip's horrible to me, and my wife's on that one. She's being horrible to me as well. So, like,
When you
feel
deserved
your
it,
boots.
you so deserved it. Like you said, Beastie Boys for Brit bands, you were going on about fucking the Lost Boys for zombie movies. Wasn't you?
No, I said Dusk Till Dawn, and then you went, that's not a zombie film, and that's when I crossed Lost Boys off my list as well.
Oh, shit. So Alien, I think
Wait
it was
a minute.
called
Well,
Alien
how are you
War.
confusing vampires and zombies? Do you keep your eyes shut the entire movie and just listen to the screams?
I don't pay attention to stuff. I'm not that good at it.
Yeah.
But I just got all excited when we was talking about horror films, and I was like, oh, Lost Boys, and I wrote it down, and I just thought, oh, Dusk Till Dawn. And then, yeah.
I don't know how we're
What,
mates.
what about
to be
those sort of
honest.
Nazi wolves in American Werewolf? Are they zombies? They're kind
We
of
have-
zombie-like.
That's a
No.
fucking good chat, because we've spoke about it. That's my favourite horror film.
Yep.
And that scene is the most horrific scene in any horror film ever.
Definitely,
When them Nazi zombies come through that window and obliterate that family, it's fucking evil.
It's especially bad because they're sitting there watching the Muppets. And it's
Muppets,
all really
yeah.
lovely.
Oh, what a fucking film.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
We've not covered Alien War, by the way. We've
Right,
kind of...
I knew you wanted to talk about this.
Let's just get it out. Get
Go
it
on.
out there. It's closed now, but that was run by Z Events, was it?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Same people.
Did anyone go to Alien War? Is this... I'm just talking to it. Thanks, mate. Ryan, is that you? Riker there. Thanks, mate. Here's the fucking shit that was. You just... You'd go in and there'd be a guy dressed up in a full-blown alien suit and they'd chase you around for like 20, 25 minutes. The end. What else do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Yeah, but they didn't need to chase you, did
I
they?
ran at 'em.
Because you went every fucking week. Most people go once and tick that box. You went every week, and when the alien appeared, what did you do?
Throw myself at him.
There you go.
I mean, we exaggerate. I did that 3 times.
Yeah.
But that's probably 3 times more than everyone else did.
Then you got asked to not come back, right?
No, we're cool. We've taken my money, I think. Yeah. I was kind of young as well, and I didn't do it every week. I'd wait 6 months, change my identity, go back in there.
That's exactly what he done after he walked around Duke's nightclub with his erection poking out of his flyers. Gave it 6 months, put his mate's coat on and went straight back in the dorm and didn't know who he was.
Oh, what was that first drug cast, was it, that story?
Yeah, that was the first ever drunk cast.
Has anyone heard that? Are you laughing? Just... Oh, fuck. I'm so glad my parents don't listen to any of these, because they would just be like, they'd divorce me, I think.
Yeah. Okay,
Anyway.
well, look, Ria's got to get on a train.
I do have to get a train. So I just so we're clear, your favorite thing about London no longer exists.
Actually, it's Fabric, which nearly no longer existed. Fabric would be my number one.
Ooh. Yeah.
For certain. I was thinking about this, and I remember being about 10 and going on a school trip, not to Fabric. I'm not about to start lying.
That's a fucking
And we
cool
were
story.
raving, and I met the DJs. It was, and I
Teacher
remember-
had his shirt off, glow sticks. It's fucking awesome.
All the Skittles were
The
white.
first time I went to London that I really solidly remember, I was blown away by how big it was and intimidating in a way. And then 18, 19, I think I first went to Fabric, and I was blown away by the size of it. I thought it was insane. There was 3 rooms there. You guys have all mentioned it. The mixture of people who were there was awesome. It was in dark rooms. Although it was a cool layout, it was very dark because it wasn't about what people were wearing. It was all about the music. And then the music, you had a true players room. I used to love drum and bass and jungle. The main room had a fucking... It's still going. It's just they probably won't let me in anymore. The floor moved.
Give it 6 months.
It wasn't completely solid how they'd set up the sound system, so the floor vibrated. It was insane, man. I loved it. For me, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that they did a Fabric Live CD, which was awesome, and even the artwork for the flyers. They used to do posters from all different artists. It's for me. It embodies all the things that I loved about London. So Fabric would be it, and then Alien War. Rest. R.I.P.
And I'll throw in just while we're talking about immersive experiences and things like that. Secret Cinema is one of my favourite things about London. I think Secret Cinema is absolutely fucking amazing. Every single one I've been to, I've walked out of there just going, that was the most incredible thing I've ever fucking been to. So.
I've never gone, but I've had 2 tickets for the same thing, which was the Star Wars one, which I was so excited. And
Did you go, Bob?
Yeah, I couldn't make both times, so I lost. How much were the tickets? 75, 150 quid.
Yeah.
So I'm 40, so I'm the exact perfect age for that, and I was crying for the whole thing. Oh, man. I met Chewbacca. Oh my God, it's C-3PO.
I played cards with Lando Calrissian.
What?
Like, it was fucking amazing. My missus got kidnapped by 2 stormtroopers.
So she says.
Brilliant. Okay, all right, well, look...
End of that.
Look, Rhea, I know you've got to get a train.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rhea Lena.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks ever so much, Rhea.
What do I do?
Bob, you can stay there, mate. Right, so we've got 15 minutes left. Who wants to come up on stage and have a chat?
Whoa, look at these hands.
Right, I'm going to instantly back away from the really keen ones. Because you're the dangerous loners.
The low hanging
And there's one up here already. Not you,
don't
Bob.
ignore the dangerous loners.
OK, you're nearest to the front.
Oh, amazing. No, don't. You, as long as it's not a cousin fucking story, you can...
OK, so this is Lauren. Right, you've got to speak
Lauren.
into the mic, Lauren. Right, you comfy?
Yes.
Right, OK. Do you want a beer?
No, I've got. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Good girl. Bob, can I...
that's the spirit.
A bottle opener? Oh! Someone was in a rock and roll band. OK, right.
What's happening?
You got a story? You got a question? What you got?
I've got a story.
Right.
But now I think it's going to be rubbish.
Get it out, come on.
All right. So I'm originally from Thurrock.
Oh, OK.
Yeah.
Somewhere, probably.
Yeah.
It's quite weird round there.
I'm from Hoxton on the hill.
Yeah, familiar with it.
Posh part.
So,
Only council house left.
Oh, right. Not so posh.
No.
/ pikey.
Yeah.
Stu's had a few.
Absolute pikey. I know he's getting praised. I moved up to Bermondsey 8 years ago.
Right.
Lauren, everyone. Thank you very much.
See you later, bye. But my story is about one of the reasons I love London, because all of the marches and how political it is and you can get involved. My story is about the time I met Edgar Wright. You know who Edgar Wright is?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was on...
If Pip's listening to this, by the way, his ears just pricked up.
Yeah.
He'll be like, ooh.
I was on the Women's March on my own. Cause
Recently?
Yeah,
Yep.
the one just gone. No one had come with me, so I went on my own like a loser. And I was walking along, and all of a sudden I just saw like a man, which there wasn't a lot, so I was like, oh, that looked like Edgar Wright. And I'm a major movie buff, so I was like, oh, I'm going to follow him. So I've legged it.
That does make you a stalker, Lauren.
What
not
did
a
I
movie
just say?
buff.
The one that put their hand up first is the dangerous loner.
Don't get confused. I'm a massive movie buff, so I collected his hair every time he molted.
Parked my car outside his house.
I wanted to stroke his face. No, so I followed him, and then he was taking pictures of the march, so he jumped up on this side. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to jump up. So then I jumped up after him, and then he jumped down. But by this point, I was like, it's not worth it. Just sweating out. And then he literally went back across the march. I was like, yes, I'm going to get him. So then I'm walking up behind him.
Security.
Lauren, this is permissible as evidence.
I told you. And then I got to that point where he's there and I was thinking, well, what do I fucking do now I'm here? So I tapped on his shoulder and I was like...
I can smell you.
And I went, you're Edgar Wright. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I really love all your films. And me and my husband, we watch all the films and we really like Space, Dan. We're thinking great. And he was like, excellent. And I was like, can I have a picture with you? Because he's not gonna believe it. And he was like, yeah, but can we keep walking? So I was like, yeah, it's fine. But at the time, when my phone breaks, it's like a Sony Xperia phone. When it breaks, rather than get the phone, the screen fixed, it costs loads of money and I'm a pikey. You can actually click in a computer mouse.
What? You're doing this in front of him?
So I was like, can I have a photo, please? He was like, yeah. So then I pull out this mouse. And I'm holding it
guys,
like this.
come on. That is
and
amazing.
I'm holding it across my chest. Like this. And he goes, what the fuck is that? And I was like, I use it to control my phone because it's smashed. And he was like, take the photo. So I took the photo and then he left. That's it.
Amazing.
Fucking hell. Lauren, well done. Oh, look. Oi, oi! Lauren, that was amazing.
Oh, I can't believe you stood in front of Edgar Wright rolling a mouse over your boobs. That's amazing.
You met any faces in London?
Yes, I have.
Go on then.
Rolf Harris.
Ooh. How old was you?
I met him as well.
I met
really warm hands.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I met Rolf Harris in Tottenham Court Road, and I had a T-shirt on that had the word twat written on it. And I literally walked past, and I heard... And I was like, fucking hell, it's Rolf Harris. And it was cool. I like Rolf Harris then. He was great.
Yeah.
It all went a bit sour.
And there's one of our buddies in the audience who was broken where Tom Bowers, he was broken when it came out about Rolf Harris. He just kept on going, he's not Rolf. I could feel his pain, man. It was rough.
The kind of weirdest one was years and years ago, and I was playing a gig at the Rock Garden in Covent Garden in the kind of mid-90s. And what we used to do was I had a megaphone. And so I'd walk out into Covent Garden and we'd all be dressed up for our stage attire, which was chaotic, shambolic shit for our band. And we would literally just walk around London with this megaphone trying to get people into our gigs. And I spotted Bill Oddie. And I was like, it's fucking Bill Oddie. So I've just kind of gone... like that, right out across fucking Covent Garden. And he's looked round, and there's 9 blokes dressed in like furry trousers and fucking all sorts of weird shit. And we've gone like, Bill Oddie, through this megaphone, and he's just fucking run. And so rather than think, give him his space, I was like, run! And so we've run after him. Stop, Bill! Like, through this megaphone, constantly in a fucking rammed Covent Garden. Now everyone's going, oh, it's fucking Bill Oddie from the Goodies. So there's other people getting involved. It was like the fucking, when Rocky goes for a run and all the kids are following. And I'm like, running after Bill Oddie. And we literally, in the end, like, the geezer must have been about 60. He was fucked. And he stopped. And I've just gone, oh, mate, I fucking love the Goodies. And he just went, mate, fuck off. And like... And like literally, you just heard the kind of megaphone go, and there was just 9 dejected band members just going, I thought he would have been a laugh. Like, Bill Oddie, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Who's got a question?
Yeah.
Young man?
I'm Seb. Do you want to jump up?
Jump up, Seb, because we can't hear you. It's a podcast, buddy. Yeah,
straight up on the seat there, yeah. whip your top off.
Grab a beer, brother. Love it. Straight in.
Welcome.
I love what you done there. Get your beer opening for you.
Oh, yeah. Cheers,
What's your question, brother? Into the mic.
I'm just wondering, like, as podcasters, what do you feel like you've learned, or what's been the most like valuable experience like so far? So, if, like, for me as a listener, I guess for all of us listeners here, big up. It's listening to like these categorized, you know. So, for example, like was it the toys one with a guy?
Yeah.
Riker's here. Riker, where are you?
Where you at?
At the back there. Riker.
Hello, sir.
Gate crashed.
I just thought it was just really fascinating. Like, I don't know anything about 1980s toys and stuff, but it was just like, it was the shit. It was like, wow, this guy's done so much research and stuff into what he's done. And then who was was it a DJ? He did his film soundtracks.
Mark Moore from S Express.
Yeah, it was just like, fuck. I mean, I've got no expertise in this area, but I was like, fuck yeah, this is just really.
Well, you'll find that me and Chris have a hell of a lot of expertise on most stuff. So if your question is, what have we learned from that?
Nothing.
We've generally learnt what people have said to us because we don't know shit.
Yeah, and the audio recordings, you probably know that we've learned nothing as well. I mean, they've got slightly better, but apart from that, we are still fucking amateurish. And we kind of try not to go too far professional because we just want it to be normal. And it's weird because, like, when people give us our top fives, we want to know them kind of in advance.
Yeah.
But that's not to be able to completely swat up on it. So when they start saying, like, particularly Mark Moore from S Express,
That's a really good example, that one.
out there, that it was like I wanted to look at it a little bit so I could contribute, but I didn't want to be sat there going, "Oh I know Cerrone and I know all these amazing songs," because it's part of the enjoyment of when people come on that they can talk about their passion and get into it, and that's the cool thing. When people get super fucking niche, that's really cool. Like Ed Skrein did it with Thug Tears, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was, he did like hip hop gangster
But
thugs
he
rapping about
even-
"I love you, brother, but I'm gonna kick your ass."
But
You know,
what's
that's
weird
cool.
is, like, you say that, but, like, even with things that it's easy to get, like when Mark, when Mark Morris said he was going to do film scores, we was expecting fucking Blink-182 from American Pie, and he went in on...
Was we?
1967...
I'm not part of that.
1967 French erotica.
Yeah.
Like, and he was so passionate about it that it was... I felt... Oh, I don't know what you thought, but I thought it was infectious, and it was just a really good listen. And that's definitely something that I think, every time we do this, we're not professional. We're never going to try and be professional because
We're not capable of it. Number one, we're not capable. We can't plan very well.
But what we've generally
that
found...
was yesterday.
Yeah. and I've only highlighted the bits where I'm being horrible to you. True that. But the one thing, which I think we'll probably finish on now, because it is half past, I think the one thing we've really taken from it is when we get, and it's going to sound a bit tacky because we're closing now, but when we get you listeners, not fans, messaging us saying, when you say things like, do you know what, it's quite weird, I was at work today, listened to it, and I just kind of felt like I was down the pub with my mates. That's what we wanted it to be.
Like, for me personally, I feel like I'm too stoned to talk. I'm just there like, wow, these guys are talking about this shit here, but I can't say anything because you guys are not there with me. But this is now my reality. I got you guys right here,
That's
You're inside the podcast.
On a quick conclusion, I just think like what makes it great is that the benefits of podcasts. I was travelling all over the world the past year, and I was just listening to you guys, and I think for listeners here, I think it's fair to say we all have some shit days sometimes, but there's no better feeling than you fucking pricks just talking absolute shit.
I don't think we could ever... I mean, that's got to be the perfect way to finish, right? Look, what we're saying now is... thank you so much for coming today, and like I hope you've had a really nice time, and we absolutely adore you for making the effort and downloading and listening and chatting and stuff like that, and it's really kind of you, so thank you ever so much. And we're gonna stand here for a while now and
pop some shit. And also, we didn't pay Seb to say that. Can I just say that was amazing, man? Thank you.
So we're gonna sell some hardcore listing bits and bobs and some Redshift t-shirts and if you want to come up and say hello and have a beer with us, then
we'll only be selling stuff for 15 minutes and then we're going to be out there. So you know,
so
don't,
come up,
don't
say
feel
hello.
that you've got to come up to buy something.
Have a chat. Keep it to about 2 minutes. Don't touch us. And we'll. I'll tell you what. That's it. Thank you very much, Bobby.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Right, look. It feels like it's 11 o'clock at night, but it's fucking 4:30 on a Saturday afternoon. Let's go get fucking smashed, yeah? Yeah!